I need to breathe this morning and, like, tag your friends. This is the kind of video that, like, I don't even care if they send me a nasty letter, because I have been a supporter of High Caliber, and when they purchased the horses from us, they showed up and they were like, we don't want the healthy ones, we want like the very worst ones. And I mean, I totally bought into everything Romney was saying, because I'm like one of those people. Any of you guys that know me, I'm genuinely like a very trusting person. So when Romney was like, look, some of the horses that we bailed are like really, really good quality, I think you can sell them, and we want to purchase or save or whatever some of the horses that you think you can't adopt out, if that makes sense, like that we can't adopt out. What was that she's saying? Hang on. Okay, so a friend of mine bought horses from us, and she left them, like, they were at the kill pen for an extended amount of time, but she's, like, a really good friend of mine, and she was like, oh my god, she was like, hopefully she'll join this video, because, like, her mares left, and they were, like, obese. They were obese. In 30 minutes, we have a live video on my Facebook page doing a reading, and the reading is going to be for a mare that I own. It's going to be one of the psychic readings, horse psychic readings. So it's going to be on my Facebook fan page if you're into that, if you want to join it. If you're not into that, you know, just stay here. So, okay, when High Caliber came, I distanced myself from them, and then after, like, some conversations with Romney, and then she distanced herself, or she resigned, or whatever, I just kind of left it alone, because I for a long time was like, you know what, I have an exposed group. I know what it's like for people to say things about me, or to be negative towards me, and I always try to be really positive. And lately, I'm like, I just can't keep my mouth shut. That's why I'm dedicating 2008 to, like, stepping away from social media. But for today, I'm here, and I have something to say. So, when High Caliber came, they didn't want the horses they originally fundraised to save. Jacob sold them the horses for like $600 or $700 a piece, and they fundraised like thousands of dollars. I think 40 or 50. Okay, I think they fundraised $45,000, and then they bought $21,000 worth of horses. And they said that that some of the horses were more expensive than what they really were to, like, justify the money they were raising. And I caught that right away, and I asked, and she was like, oh, well, no, that's for responsible rescue. Like, we figured in their vet work. And I was like, wait, Jacob said he would provide the vet work. And, I mean, it was just really, like, everything was just, but you know what, when you're dealing with that many horses, and you're dealing with that much stuff, I've been overwhelmed and made, like, mistakes. And so I never want to call somebody out on being a liar over like, technical mistakes, because I've made those mistakes, and I've been called out as being a liar. And to be quite honest, it's very disheartening for somebody to be calling you a liar when you just made a mistake. Like, you can be told, okay, the horses are $650 a piece plus vet work, and then think that means you have to pay it, and then the person you were talking to meant they would pay it, or vice versa, just whatever. And so I have been in situations to where I was caught in the middle, and, you know, Facebook drama and people that don't know you and aren't involved are quick to, like, try to pick apart any little thing they can and make you look stupid and call you names. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to be that person. Like, but when they came, they did not want the original horses they purchased. They wanted horses that we couldn't sell. And I thought, oh my gosh, these are the nicest people in the whole world. Like, they would prefer to let us home the better quality horses to our customers, the ones that they've already purchased, and they want to take horses that are, like, emaciated so that they can rehab them. Fuck no. They wanted to take them so that they could, like, get them home, complain about how sick they were, like, pull more donations out of people, and euthanize over a quarter of them. that's what they wanted to do. Like, they literally came here, took horses from us to kill them. Literally, I feel that way. I feel like they came here, they didn't save shit. Out of all the horses they took, I feel like some of them got better situations, got good homes or whatever, but they were horses that I could have found good homes or good situations for through Double S. So I was so pissed when they started euthanizing this one, euthanizing that one, when they were horses that didn't need euthanasia. The problem is they are so overrun with 100+ horses that they don't have the genuine time or resources to really rehab horses that need extra help. And I feel that way. And I'm telling you, I'm calling them on their bullshit. Yesterday, a friend of mine emailed me and she was like, Tara, I think I'm going to donate money to High Caliber. I want to ask you some questions. And I was like, all right, girl, what's going on? And she's like, well, I'm fixing to send him $1,000 for this calf and his rehabilitation. And I just feel so bad. Like, you know, my son was born with an umbilical cord hernia. And she was like, I just, you know, when I saw this calf and he has a big navel, like, it just made me think of my son. And I'm like, why are they buying a big navel calf? And she was like, well, they're going to try to save him. And I told her, I was like, well, Jacob and I we buy like dozens and dozens and dozens of big navel calves every week. Like, whenever we go to sales, like, this time of year, it's cold enough here that we can even truck some cattle back from the east. So, like, we had some calves come in from dairies up north, like Pennsylvania, New York recently, and several of them had a big navel. And big navel is not, like, I don't know all the details to it, and every case is different, but I can never recall even one time getting a big navel calf. And it didn't matter if it was a Jersey, a Holstein, a Bramer, a Hereford, a little Black Angus. I mean, we've had big navel calves of every genre, or every breed, or every whatever you prefer to call them, and we've never euthanized one. Like, we just feed them out. Like, we, you know, if it's infected, like, sometimes big navel calves have big navels for different reasons. Sometimes they're infected, sometimes they're not, but I can never recall in the 6 years that I've lived in the house with Jacob, and probably thousands, dozens a week for sure, of calves that are bobtails, Popeyes, crooked noses. I mean, when you have a feed yard, you kind of get, like, the calves that aren't breeding stock, or things that, you know, like, farmers didn't buy. So, you know, when you have a feed yard, but I mean, we feed these calves out for months. Like, you go, oh yeah, Tara, but you slaughtered it. You sent it to the sale barn, or I mean, to the slaughter plant. But we fed it for months. Like, we fed that big naveled calf from, like, a little baby to, like, a big ass 1-year-old plus steer. So if we can make them survive and eat and grow and flourish, and it's just a feed yard, why can't a rescue? Like, why would a rescue have to bring it home and euthanize it that day when we keep hundreds of big navel calves alive for months on months so that they get big enough to go to slaughter? Oh, that's right, because lots of people like her felt bad and started sending money. That's why. They started sending money. Money that's not being used for him. Money that's not being used for his responsible rescue because he got a bullet to the head. It was money that they got so that they could do what with? Probably fund their existing operations, because they've gotten to the point that they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horses spread out all over, and so what? They have to, like, that's scammy to me. Like, oh, well, let's pull this story out of our ass and cry on camera about this calf that we very well could have kept alive. And why would you save a big naveled calf to begin with? Like, why wouldn't you let him go to the feed yard? Because here's the deal. Cattle slaughter in the U.S. is extremely humane. I mean, extremely. And it's extremely strictly governed. Like, it's strictly governed to the point that, like, they don't even, like, we have to measure cattle with horns because they don't want us to send cattle that have horns over a certain size, because they want us to tip them and us to treat them because they don't even want blood on the floor. Like, cows with horns too big, when they put them through the chute to catapult them, can like whack a horn. And you know, like if you've ever seen a steer or a heifer whack a horn and it bleeds and it's painful and they get, you know, kind of like upset because it's stinging. So they make us measure our horns prior to sending them to slaughter, because they won't even take them if they dock us, because they have to be extra careful and it takes extra amounts of time and precaution. So I know that there's a couple of kill plants that won't take them, and there's a couple that will take them if their horn span is not right, but they will make you pay a fee for them having to like move all the machinery so that they can accommodate this cow to, I mean, it's fixing to die. They're fixing to put a catapult gun in its forehead and kill it, and they are so governed at this point that they are pissed if it could potentially hit a horn and cause any kind of bleeding or suffering, because they don't want the ramifications of it. Like, that's pretty damn serious. Like, that's where our slaughterhouses are right now. Like, they don't even want you to send them with these big horns, because they might knock a horn and that causes suffering, and then the slaughter is no longer humane for that animal, and my God, somebody might say something. And like, we have cows all the time that like come in with big horns and they're broke or infected or whatever because it just happened at somebody's house. I mean, if you've ever owned any horned animal, it can happen. I mean, it just can happen, especially if they're hot, high-headed, they want to fight, you know, and they're ramming the fence and stuff. It can happen. So slaughter is extremely humane. So what exactly did they do? They found a calf with a big navel, and they got lots of people to pay for him and to pay for his rehabilitation, only to bring him home and shoot him? Why didn't you just let the slaughterhouse shoot him? I mean, it's no different. Like, the cattle slaughterhouses in the United States are humane. So if you were just gonna shoot him, that's, like, to me, that is bullshit. Because, I mean, and here's why I think I take it personal. This friend of mine that was going to send money for him is, like, a good friend of mine. And she was, like, you know, her heartstrings were pulled because he had a big navel and her son was born with an umbilical hernia and blah, 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 blah. And, like, she doesn't have that kind of money. Like, she said, well, God, you know, what if we can provide a really good life for him? And she called me last night and she was like, oh my God, Tara, I am so glad you talked me off the ledge. She was like, I would have gone ballistic if I had sent them $1,000 only for them to turn around and shoot that calf. And I was like, well, they did. They shot him and they killed him. So next time I tell you not to send your damn money somewhere. And she was like, that's the reason that I am your friend. Like, she goes, you're psycho sometimes, but I love you. And I go, I'm not psycho. I'm just so damn, like, I have just, for the last 6 years, I have been submerged freaking asshole deep in just the worst kind of people, and they're all rescue people. And I've told Jacob that, like, it would be so different if I felt like these rescues had good intentions, but I am so anti-rescue, and I'm even worse now because High Caliber burned me worse than any rescue in America. Like, that was by far the most bullshit experience of my life, and it was such a shit show, and they literally capitalized on every, like, you know what, I'm pretty good at marketing. But what stops me from being amazing at marketing is I have no bullshit filter. Like, if it dies, I just tell you, hey, it died. If it, you know what I'm saying? I don't put a spin on it. I don't try to market it to the hilt. And I sure as fuck don't try to, like, get you guys to send donations for things that I feel like are unnecessary. I feel like the triage barn is the greatest thing that this group ever collectively helped do. I mean, all in all, it's going to be a $15,000 project, and this group had only paid about 20-something, maybe 2,100 and some change, and then we had some horses in the rehoming project that I sold, and that money went to it, but I'm talking like maybe 3,500 to 15,000, you know, is what was paid for through the draws and through people sending money. And the triage barn to me is necessary. I think it's going to be a absolutely brilliant thing, especially in this. What happens after winter is we get an overabundance of emaciated and skinny horses because people turned them out for the winter and forgot about them, and then in the spring they kind of panic because they look really bad, and I'm like, you dumbass, you're finally going to have grass now to where you could accommodate the horse, but I think they just panic at the sight of them being so thin. So we get just an overabundance of emaciated horses in the spring, and it's going to be a great place to be able to jumpstart a lot of those emaciated horses. Now, I don't have anything but great things to say about Romney. I feel like she's really decent. I had a good experience with Jen Baker from the Mini Horse Rescue, but I'll never fuck with her again. Because after I did her right and sold her all of those minis, she bought like a dozen minis from Bastrop, transported them without paperwork. They all had strangles, all kinds of shit. They were from Bastrop, not from us. And then she got on there and was like, I will never buy from a feed yard again. And like completely bashes feed yards and kill pens as a whole over her bad experience with Bastrop. And you know what's really sad is she knew that the owner of Bastrop broke my nose, and her and I are supposed to be like acquaintances, like friends, and then she fundraises and buys all those minis from them and then badmouths feedlots as a whole. Her ordeal with us and her dealings with us went smooth, and it was perfect, and we delivered them to her, and she thanked me 1,000 times for like how smooth things went. Kristen, I just saw you pop on. Are you ready? I got your message a second ago where you said that you were going to be ready in a second. Okay, you finished the reading. Give you 1 minute. Okay, Kristen, let me go to my Facebook fan page. All right, you guys, pop over to my Facebook fan page. But just so you know, I am not a High Caliber fan. I love Romney. I think that Romney genuinely did have good intentions. I think that my relationship with Romney is what made me support them, because I genuinely felt like she was a good marketing person, but at the end of the day, she loved the animals, and that she really believed in her heart that when Michelle would make these choices to euthanize animals, it was for the greater good. And I don't know anything to do with anything about why she left, but I'll never bash Romney because I actually know her in person, and from our one-on-one